Hey everybody, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead, and we finished the DJ Dillon book yesterday of the hair-pulling bear dog, and that ended very well. They caught old Satchelfoot, so DJ and his family could get that reward, and old Satchelfoot is going to get treated by a vet so that his jaw can heal, and then he'll be released far, far, far in the mountains away from everybody. So that's really good. On top of that, they found his little dog, Hero, who turned out really saving DJ's life. Now, when we left last time, there was maybe something going to go on that could change DJ's life for years. So I think a big hint is in the title of this one. This new book in the series is called The City Bears Adventures. Can you see that? I have a weird light going on there. There we go. The City Bears Adventures. So I'm going to read that one right now, starting with chapter 1. Okay, hopefully my dogs aren't going to be too noisy because they're going to want to play, so I'm going to tell them to be quiet first. Okay, I got Ruby put up in the bathroom because she was getting very, very wild. And Coco is laying on the bed, so that's okay. I'll show you Coco real fast. Okay, just a second. Here's Coco. Can you see Coco? Hi, Coco. Anyhow, that's one of my dogs. The other one, like I said, Ruby, she's in the bathroom because she is a little wilder. So I'm going to read chapter 1, Capture of a Wild Bear Cub. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at this picture. Yeah. Looks like a bear cub to me. Let's see how this works. 13-year-old DJ Dillon. How many of you are 13? If you are, please leave me a little message, or maybe you know somebody that's 13. Leave me a message about that too. 13-year-old DJ Dillon peered anxiously through the pickup's dusty windshield. Anxious, almost a little worried. Slowly the truck growled out of Devil's Slide Canyon away from Mad River. Paul Stagg, a giant of a man, steered the borrowed truck along the logging road in California's High Sierra Nevada mountains. On the floorboards, Hero, DJ's little hair-pulling dog, slept with his muzzle across the boy's dusty cork-soled boots. Now, you remember, or maybe we haven't even said, his muzzle, he'd kind of have his little mouth and nose there. That'd be way cute, huh? I think I need to adjust this. There we go. DJ kept his blue eyes on the beautiful green forest conifers. Remember what those are? Trees that always stay green. Standing tall in the summer sun, he asked, "You think there's a chance?" Paul Staggs chuckled. It was a low, rumbling sound that bubbled up from his big chest. "Never can tell, DJ. Though I didn't see anything like a bear cub yesterday. But we'll stop in a minute and take a look." The boy twisted in the seat to look out the back window. Several trail hounds rested in their box in the back of the pickup. The boy raised his right hand and brushed the pale yellowish hair back from his eyes like this. Get it away from his eyes. He could see the culvert trap on the trailer, which bounced behind the pickup. Both iron bars were down and locked on the trap. Through the nearest barred door, the boy saw the outlaw bear, old Satchelfoot, riding unharmed, not hurt at all, in the trap. In an exciting adventure, old Satchelfoot had been captured alive. Now his infected jaw would be treated before he was trucked into the higher mountains and released. 12-year-old Kathy Stagg, Paul's daughter, would be very happy about that. Suddenly, Paul Stagg raised one huge hand and pointed. "What's that?" "That's where it happened." I see her," DJ exclaimed, leaning forward and looked over. "She did have a cub. Look at him run for that tree." The cub wasn't much bigger than a house cat. He was kind of a cinnamon color, so kind of a brownish red, like his mother, who lay dead in the sugar pine. The cub scooted up the tree's rough trunk and disappeared into the branches. "He'll starve to death," DJ exclaimed. "He'll die unless we capture him and take him home so I can raise him." "DJ, you're asking for more problems than any boy should have if you take a wild creature out of its native place." But you once had a cub." "That's why I'm telling you it's going to give you troubles." "But we can't just let him die, please. Let's capture him." Paul pushed in his roll-brimmed cowboy hat with a strong finger. "Well, considering what you've been through, DJ, I guess you're entitled to that." In a few minutes, the man and the boy had alighted from the pickup truck, means they got out of it, and quieted the hounds. The dogs had smelled the dead mother bear, which Tinsley Abbas and his son had been forced to shoot the day before. Hero, the scruffy little hair-pulling dog, sniffed once at the big bear's carcass and immediately followed the cub's scent up to the tree. The dog jumped up on the tree, scratching and trying to climb it. DJ said, "No, Hero." The mixture of hound, Airedale, and Australian shepherd had earned a name change after some encounters with bears that had nearly cost the little dog his life. Now the mutt tucked in his stub of a tail between his hind legs and looked uncertainly at the boy. DJ bent and gave the dog a quick pat. "I know you did a good thing in treeing that little fellow, Hero, but you'll scare him if you bark like that. Now lay down and stay out of the way while Paul and I figure out how to get that cub down." The big man was a volunteer lay preacher who had recently come to pastor the community church at Stony Ridge. Paul stood nearly 7 foot tall with his peaked cowboy hat, so the hat made him even taller than he was, and his high-heeled boots. So cowboy boots all have a heel on them, so that made him even taller, though he was very tall already. He had already hooked some dog chains together and was now making a loop in the end of the first chain. "DJ, this worked for me years ago when I caught my cub, so it should work again. You climb up there in that ponderosa tree, closest to the sugar pine where the cub is. Find a long pointed stick, one with a little V in it, and take it up with you." "Then what?" "I'll tell you that when you get up alongside the cub. Meanwhile, I'll dig out an extra tin coat and an old leather jacket I've got in the pickup. A tin coat was made of very sturdy material, so loggers couldn't easily tear it while they were working out in the timber. DJ was tall for his age, very fair, that means he was very light complected, and quite strong. He scampered up that tree, taking care to keep the chains from snagging on the limbs. When he was alongside the cub, he spoke quietly to him. I know you're scared, and your mama's dead, but we're here to help you. Just take it easy, and you'll soon have something to eat. Paul's big booming voice came up from the ground. You ready, DJ? Ready? Okay, hang on tight with one hand so you don't fall. Take the stick and put it in the loop of the chain that I made. When you're ready, ease the stick out towards the cub. Try to drop the loop over his head. It sounded easy enough to the boy, but the little bear bit the stick and swatted the chain away with a forepaw. DJ tried again. Now look, little cub, I'm trying to help you, so don't make it hard for me. The boy again eased the stick forward with the chain at the end. The cinnamon bear cub swung his forepaw again. The chain fell hard against DJ's tin pants. The boy reset the stick's Y into the loop of the chain and eased it out again. This time he held it above the cub's head and reached out. The bear's bright eyes watched as the loop and stick slowly descended. Suddenly the bear's left forepaw struck. The stick was caught and bent down sharply, the chain sliding heavily down, hitting on the cub's head. For a second, the chain caught on the bear's right ear. The cub tried to shake it off, but the chain settled like a bright silver necklace around the cub's neck. Gotcha, DJ cried, pulling the slack out of the chain so the cub couldn't throw it off, but not so tight that the cub would choke. The boy raised his voice. I got him, Paul. Now what? Slowly tighten the chain's loop around his neck. Then pull steadily but carefully until the cub lets go his hold. Now his hold on the branch. DJ obeyed, fighting some concern that the cub would be hurt. But the 15-pound bear was no match for the much heavier boy. In a moment, the little forepaws were pulled free. As the boy continued to pull, the cub's hindpaws were also pulled free from the limb. He's free! Good! Paul Stagg's voice boomed through the dense green pine needles. Now lower him down to me. Keep him steady, but lower him fast so we don't hurt him. The boy leaned his shoulder against the tree so he could use both hands. The cub squealed as he was lowered through the limbs, pulled free as he tried to hang on, and finally cleared the bottom limbs. Can you reach him, Paul? One more second. There. Okay, I got my tin coat around him. Get down here as fast as you can and help me get the other coat around him before he tears this one all up with me in it. With me with it. The boy tossed the chain away from him so that it wouldn't fall on the man. It fell heavily to the brown pine needles under the tree. Then DJ scrambled backwards down the tree. When he was about 6 feet up, he pushed himself out and away. He fell to his knees, jumped up, and grabbed the leather coat, which he threw over the cub's snapping mouth. Whew, Paul said, helping make the second coat into a tighter wrap. I was having a tough time go a tough time letting go of that little bear. Is he hurt? Will he smother? No. He can breathe through that coat while I put a little rawhide wrap around his jaws so he won't bite us. Right now, he's just real scared, I reckon. Well, he can't tear up both those coats before we get him home. Here, let's lift him into the front seat between us and then head for your place. I got a hunch your father's not going to take too kindly to this new pet. The big lay preacher was right. DJ chained the hounds and hero at the creek below the house because Paul Stagg couldn't leave the outlaw bear and his cage. DJ waded across the creek without removing his boots, holding the wrapped cub in both arms. The boy hurried up the dusty, rutted, and unpaved road to the tiny house where he lived with his father and grandfather. Grandpa Dillon was rocking in his cane-bottomed chair on the front porch, his Irish shillelagh resting across his lap. Do you remember the shillelagh? It's kind of like a cane. The old man raised his pale blue eyes and called, "What's that there thing you got and that you're holding, DJ?" "You'd never guess, Grandpa," the old man snorted and adjusted his bifocals on his nose. "Trouble, more than likely." He raised his voice and turned to call inside the house, "DJ's back." The boy's father appeared at the screen door. Sam Dillon was a short, powerfully built man with a darkly tanned face from working as a choker setter in the timber. And you remember choker setters, they kind of throw a cable around a log so that it can be pulled by some other equipment to move it. "Dad, guess what? I found my little hair-pulling bear dog alive. And we also caught old Satchelfoot alive. Hero helped me save Nels Abbas from getting hurt or killed. And then Paul Stagg and I found this bear cub, and I'd like to..." "Bear cub!" Dad's words exploded like his long-barreled Craig rifle. "You're bringing a wild critter like that into this house?" The boy removed the jacket from the cub's head and slipped Hero's chain over the animal's head. "Aw, Dad, he's not any bigger than a cat, and he can't hurt me. Could I keep him? Huh? Please?" "If I don't, he'll starve, because the professional bear hunter and his son killed the mother bear. Please, Dad?" Sam Dillon's face clouded up with black anger. But before he could yell, as DJ knew he was about to do, Grandpa spoke quietly. "If you'd got killed out there chasing that outlaw bear, DJ, your father and I would have given anything to have you back safe and sound. Isn't that right, Sam?" Since DJ's mother had been killed in an auto accident, the two men argued all the time. But Grandpa had recently given his life to the Lord, and he'd not been arguing with his son Sam, DJ's father. DJ waited anxiously, his blue eyes pleading with his strong-willed father. Dad glared at Grandpa for a long time before finally answering, "DJ, I'm dead set against it because we're sure heading for trouble. But, well, thanks, Dad. Hey, Grandpa, look. I've got both a dog and a bear cub. Now, if only I had some boy who could be my best friend." Grandpa cackled like a Rhode Island red hen, DJ, you sure got a powerful lot of wants for one boy. Well, now if you're going to have a bear cub for a pet, we best name him. You think of a name while I go back and get the hounds, Grandpa. When the boy returned from the creek and chained the hounds under the L-shaped porch, Grandpa had decided. Name him Teddy, because he's the color of that teddy bear you used to have, DJ. Before the boy could answer, Dad exploded. Teddy? What kind of name is that for a real bear? Besides, DJ's teddy bear was more brown, or reddish brown, cocoa colored. Look how rough this little cub is already. He's tearing up those coats. And him with his mouth tied shut. So I say his name is Tuffy, not Teddy. Grandpa clicked his false teeth. It's Teddy, not... He broke off suddenly and glanced skyward. Oops, I plumb forgot. You all call him anything you want. I'll go along with you. DJ looked at his grandpa in surprise. Then he understood. The old man was trying to follow the peaceful path instead of arguing about everything as he always had before. Dad's black temper was close to the surface again. DJ saw his dad goaded his father. You giving up without an argument? Grandpa looked at his son. I'm going to live like a changed man. The good Lord's helping. You get nary a contrary word out of me over this. I'm not going to argue with you. DJ spoke up before his dad could say anything more. I think I'll just call him Coco because of his color. Only I'll spell it K-O-K-O. Dad said that cub's more cinnamon colored than cocoa colored. DJ was surprised to hear Grandpa say, Does that make much difference, Sam? Why can't the boy call the bear anything he wants regardless of its color? Dad shrugged. Well, why not? Coco. Okay, I guess. Fine with me too, Grandpa said. For the first time he could remember, he gave something a name which both his father and grandfather agreed to recognize. They agreed that would be the name. The boy fed the cub and was surprised to find out that, little as he was, the bear ate almost anything and asked for more. In a few days, the cub had learned to come to a tug of the dog collar, so he'd pull on it and the cub would come, which was attached to a thick leather collar Grandpa had made out of an old piece of harness. Harness is something that they put on a horse. DJ was pleased because the cub learned to lead more quickly than a dog. In a week, DJ was ready to show off his pet in town. As Grandpa said, that bear was born tame. Why, you'd think he was a city bear instead of being born wild. DJ rode into town with his father. Sam Dillon parked his old pickup truck at the high curb in front of the town's only mercantile store. Dad went inside to buy some groceries. DJ snapped the chain onto the cub's collar and led him slowly down the sidewalk. Everybody stared. What? Two cars almost collided, almost hit each other. In the street, as the drivers turned to look at that bear, DJ felt good. As he passed the alley, he heard someone yell, "You leave me alone!" DJ stopped and looked into the alley. He recognized 14-year-old Nels Albus, but not the smaller boy. The bigger kid held the front of the other boy's shirt and was almost ready to lift him right up off the ground. Nels kicked at a loaf of bread the smaller boy had obviously dropped. But the smaller boy was struggling hard against the town bully's grip. DJ was surprised to hear himself yell, "Hey, Nels, let him go!" Instantly, DJ wished he hadn't done that. And that is the end of chapter 1. Tomorrow will be chapter 2, the ice cream eating bear. Ooh, that sounds like a good one. So let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. All right, I just want to remind you, as always, you are important, and I love you, and I'm so happy you're listening to these stories. I really enjoy them. So God bless you. You have a good night or a good day whenever you're watching this, and I will be talking to and reading to you tomorrow.